The children had a swim with Smiley. I watched for a while and then struggled with my memoirs. But I was too anxious to concentrate. Secretary of State Dean Reed is coming to see me this afternoon, and frankly, I am not looking forward to the meeting. Old enemies are still old enemies, even when one is out of office, and I no longer derive pleasure from being polite. When I looked in on the children again, they were very busy. They had moved to the sand area, what they call the beach. You can picture it. The gray stone wall, cutting the leisure area off from the ranch, is now almost hidden by tall hollyhocks in full bloom. Outside the changing huts are salvia beds, while the jasmines along the colonnade are all in flower and very fragrant, as well as noisy with bees. It is a perfect spot for children in a dreadful time like the present. The kids were burying Doreen's scooter. They had their spades and pails out and were working away with the sand, making a mound over the machine. They were much absorbed. No one seemed to be directing operations. They were working in unison. Only Paul was chattering as usual. The machine was eventually entirely buried, and they walked solemnly round it to make sure the last gleaming part was covered. After only the briefest discussion, they dashed away to different parts of the area to gather things. I saw their quick brown bodies multiplied on the various screens as I called more and more cameras into action. It looked as if the whole world was tenanted by little lissom savages, an entirely charming illusion. They came back to the grave time and time again. Sometimes they brought twigs and small branches snapped off the sheltering acacias, more often flower heads. They called to each other as they ran. Nurse Gregory had the morning off, so they were playing entirely alone. You may recall that the cameras and microphones are concealed mainly in the pillars of the colonnade. I was not picking up what the children were saying very well because of the constant buzzing of bees in the jasmine. How many secrets of state were saved by those same insects? But Doreen was talking about a feast. What they were doing, she insisted, was a feast. The others did not question what she said. Rather, they echoed it in excitement. "We'll load on lots of flowers, and then it will be a huge, huge feast," I heard Paul say. I gave up work and sat watching them. I tell you, theirs seemed the only meaningful activity in the crazy, warring world, and it was inscrutable to me. Eventually they had the grave covered with flowers. Several branches of acacia were embedded on top of the mound, which was otherwise studded with big hollyhock flowers, crimson, mauve, maroon, yellow, orange, with an odd scarlet head of salvia here and there, and a bunch of blue cornflowers that Paul picked. Then round the grave they arranged smaller twigs. The whole thing was done informally, of course. It looked beautiful. Doreen got down on her knees and began to pray. She made our two solemn grandchildren do likewise. "God bless you, Jesus, on this bright day," she said. "Make this a good feast, in thy name." Much else she said which I could not hear. The bees were trying to pollinate the microphones, I do believe. But chiefly they were chanting, "Make this a good feast in thy name." Then they did a sort of hopping dance about the pretty grave. You must wonder about this unexpected outbreak of Christianity in our agnostic household. I must say that at first it caused me some regret that I have for so long stifled my own religious feelings in deference to the rationalism of our times, and perhaps partly in deference to you, whose innocent pagan outlook I always admired and hopelessly aspired to. As far as I know, Molly and Dick never taught their children a word of prayer. Perhaps the traditional comforts of religion were exactly what these orphans needed. What if those comforts are illusions? Even the scientists are saying that the fabric of space-time has been ruptured, and reality, whatever that may be, is breaking.